Hello and welcome today. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and this is the Seekers platform where we will be talking today about what meditation is not, what meditation is not. And I want you to do this favor for your friends and family and those in your network. I want you to share this with them and also call them to come around the table and let's talk about what meditation is not. There is every possibility that you know what meditation is, but what about what meditation is not? Because a lot of people out there have a different kind of perspective about what is meditation. How can I meditate? Is meditation this? Is meditation that? Today we will try as much as possible to make it interactive. And this, I will start by saying to you that the greatest undoing of mankind, the greatest undoing of mankind is the inability for them to stay alone, to be by themselves. Because it is in staying alone that you slip back into the darkness. And the darkness of life is where the treasures of life is hidden. Unfortunately, we were programmed to not enjoy our own loneliness, our lone time, our darkest moment. And humanity brought up what we call relationship, institution of marriage, courtship, friendship, several other things like partnership. There are a lot of ships that we are boarding today that, even though they may be necessary, but being alone could be better off sometimes. For the sake of childbearing, you should get married. For the sake of synergy, you should have partnership. For the sake of company, you should have friendship. For the sake of your sanity, you should have yourself. You should have yourself. If you are looking for sanity out of life, the very first person you want to have is you, yourself. We welcome everybody again. Now you realize that life started from the position of loneliness and being alone. You were conceived alone, irrespective of how many sperms were swimming towards that egg, alone by yourself. And even if you are twins or you are quadruplet or triplet and whatever it is that you existed in your mother's womb alone by yourself. You got to this world before you were introduced to each other as, oh my God, you guys were born together. This is your twin brother, this is your twin sister. Life started from the perspective of have yourself, you for yourself alone. But when we got into this part of the planet, we were trained to always want to leech and depend on others to survive, to make things work. Now, I'm not saying be against synergy. It is good to synergize. As a matter of fact, I'm of the opinion that what others can do for you, pay them to do it for you. You don't need to do everything for yourself. But I'm saying for the sake of your sanity, you must always remember you came alone, you will go alone. And if you lose yourself in the process of your pilgrimage or your existence in this life, it's going to be the greatest undoing of self-destruction that you have ever detonated against yourself. And the people before us, they knew this. So they would always give you a break if you need one, and also accord you a space if necessary. Unfortunately, we are existing in a world where couples feel like having a alone time as an individual is a sin and is a sign of you have been cheating on me. No wonder we see so much aggression, so much of belligerence in marriages, in relationship these days. We get tired of each other so quick and so easily because we are not giving space to each other to be who we are, to appreciate ourselves, to have alone time for ourselves. And so if there's any human being living on this planet Earth who do not understand the concept of meditation or have a misconception of meditation, there is every possibility that such a person will live the rest of their life in misery. To be physically useful, you need alone time. To be divinely useful, now note the word divinely useful. I'm not using the word spiritually useful, because a lot of time when you use spiritual, people just tell me to be a way of trying to be better than other people. Now, being divinely useful means that you are deploying what your abstract self can offer the world. To be physically, mortally, and immortally useful in this plane that you find yourself, you need alone time to meditate. So while you think meditation is a religious rite or activity, I beg to differ by saying to you that meditation is like a reconciliation of account of yourself, of the content you have acquired so far, and of the intention you have towards the future. That is your only time to be able to reconcile yourself with yourself. A self-loving moment, a time where it is just you, yourself, and you alone. However, the greatest undoing of mankind in the world where we live in is the inability for them to spend time alone with themselves. So we push ourselves into a relationship we ought not to be in. We push ourselves into employment we ought not to be in. We go into marriages we ought not to be in. We even go to churches we are not supposed to go. We join mosques we are not supposed to go. We allow people put hands on us, those who are not meant to. And we allowed ourselves to be ruled, ruined, and destroyed by fellow mankind because we do not value ourselves. Why? We don't know what we carry. And only the time of meditation will reveal all of this to you. The greatest undoing of mankind is inability to spend time alone. You must have heard it that when you are silent, you are filled with strength. You are ready, right? That when you are silent, your strength manifests. Now, strength we're talking about is not in terms of your muscular power or your aggression and all those stuff. You know what men call strength? Strength we are talking about comes from the perspective of in quietness, you manifest the maximum level of wisdom. In quietness, in the moment of your quietness, the greatest level of wisdom is bestowed upon you by the universe where you find yourself. But look at you today and see a lot of distractions going on around the world. There are so many things you could avoid, so many potholes. We live in a world where they tell us to drive forward but look backward. The system of the world, the government of the world, the institution of religion is set up so that you can find yourself in a detour all of the time. And so when meditation becomes the part and parcel of you, people that are being wrong. It's like something is wrong somewhere. We are not saying we should deassociate ourselves from fellowshipping with others or clubbing together with others. We are saying that while you are with them, are you also like them? Because if you are with them and you are like them, what happened to them happens to you. You could be among them and think not like them. And the world hates you when you think contrary to their way or direction. They don't like it. The moment you begin to reap the dividends of meditation, ability to reconcile yourself with you, to take a cue and to also learn from your act and to also balance the sheet that you have before you, that sheet of your deeds, and you realize that you become the God you are looking for, and you become the judge of your own action, and you see clearly now. And in clarity, you realize your reasoning pattern begin to change. And there's no way your reasoning pattern will change, and you remain like that. And once you are not like that, they hate you for it. So they say majority carry the vote because vote is cheap. And people from time immemorial always give their vote for those who do not worth it. Why? They lack the sense of reasoning. They lack the sense of reasoning. So what is meditation not? By knowing what meditation is not, we will be able to know exactly what meditation is. This is the seeker's moment for today. And what we're talking about is what meditation is not. We welcome everybody here. It could be so engaging and so intense, you will forget to share with your friends and in your network. It does a great service. Go ahead and share. What is meditation not? Number one is this: meditation is not a Buddhism or Hindu practice. I realize in life that most times when people talk about meditation, they readily just apportion it to what those who practice Buddhism or the Hindus do. And so they are not able to harness the best of it. Or they think meditation is going through another person called guru or yogi, spiritual leaders. So the access meditation gives you to the universe is the access that nobody can be a mediator between you and the very thing you are looking for. So we cannot dispute the fact that Buddha, people who follow Buddha and those who practice Hinduism do a lot of meditation. Just like those who follow Jesus, Muhammad, they do a lot of prayer. So while they do Buddhism meditation by not saying a word, they do a lot of prayer by saying too much words. So there's always excesses in all of these things. And you realize you are finding yourself in religion, irrespective of whatever. Meditation is not a Buddhism or Hindu practice. You think the monks, when you begin to meditate, that means you are joining the monks or the monastery of the monks. Or you think meditation is something that is specially used by those who follow Buddha to attain spirituality. No. As an African, you can meditate. As a matter of fact, the concept of meditation emanated from here. I must have mentioned that the way the folks that existed before us view worship is different from the way the Western folks view worship. Those who were in Africa before us, they view worship as a perfect communication via intense relationship with nature. The concept of worship from the perspective of bowing down to, throwing each other before, graven image and all that came from West. Why? Because the ancestors here in Africa were worshiping through communication. They know the countenance and they could speak to the trees, to the animals, to nature. That's all they know about worship. You just realize that worship goes beyond just talking, sometimes noticing and being aware of your immediate environment. So they were constantly meditating. There's something they call ifura, being conscious and being aware. So Yoruba people will say, ifura lagba ogun, ifura no ogun agba, pansa ofura, pansa jano, aja ofura, ajaji, olile ofura, ole ko. Constantly being aware of your immediate environment, such that your sense organ, how many sense organ do we have? I think we have, is it 7 or 6 sense organs we have? You are living your life in such a way that despite your sense organs, you can feel and you know intimately and intensely something is changing or something is wrong in your environment. So they say your third eye is open inside of you. A situation where you have an experience before you step into its reality. Call it whatever English you want to have it. You say premonition, you say revelation, you say trance, whatever you call it. These people who were occupying the land of Kemet knew this thing. Yeah, six sense organ. Knew this thing without the use of their eyes, their mouth, their nose, their tongue, their hands, and all of those things. And they could even see into the future. So seeing into the future is not a job of the prophet. And this is what I'm saying to you today. If they can do it, you also can. As a matter of fact, it is a shame on you as a black child to consult me or any other person to look into your life for you. You're giving me a free access to where I do not belong. I will mess you up. And that's what you do when you go to church. The price you pay for not being able to stay still, be alone by yourself, so the nature can talk to you. It's giving money to your babalawos and your prophets and your pastors so they can buy jet over you. How am I supposed to know you more than you know yourself? Do I live inside of you? The highest I can do is to show you the way. You know what is wrong with you. So meditation is not zoned to the Buddhism folks or the Hindu folks. It is not. It is not. It is not. So when you see people say, oh, let's go and do meditation, don't start thinking, those people that will wear wrapper and all of those things. No, let's not do that. Somebody is saying something here that meditation is a key ritual in the Yoruba belief system, still practiced among the natives in Black Africa, till these days. Thank you very much for the contribution. Another thing that meditation is not, that may want to contradict what my brother says, I'm going to explain mine, is meditation is not a ritual for spiritual installation. people think, okay, those who meditate, they should be more spiritual than those who do not. Our meditation is not about going to gain spiritual power. If your aim and purpose in life is so you will meditate and be spiritually possessed, meditation is not for you. Because a lot of us are living a life of vulnerability, a life that we just want to, either it is something good or bad, let's just be possessed. We just want to be different. We struggle with a lot of self-esteem issue. So our purpose for looking for power is not so we can use it for ourselves. It's so we can use it to show off or oppress other people. Unfortunately for you, if you think by meditating, you will be spiritually endowed, or there is one update software of spirituality that will be put upon you when you are meditating, this is wrong. That's why most people who meditate for this reason become frustrated. And let me explain why I said that. You know what they do when they meditate? Meditation is unpacking, not loading. Meditation is not downloading. Meditation is unveiling what is already here. Why? It's going to be very hard for you to dream about people or things or what you have never come across or thought about. Why? Because you are not a non-entity. Your life is not just a device that can be put anything in, take anything out. As a human being, you are deliberate. And that's why you have consciousness and unconsciousness. Unconsciousness, some people call it subconscious. There is a state of consciousness. This, like this, is a state of consciousness, a state where I am aware of what I'm doing and I'm doing it intentionally. A state where I do not allow destiny or fate or karma to happen to me. I do not put my hand in the hand of God and my life in the hand of God, but I deliberately do what I want to do so that I can get to that destination that I'm looking for. That's a state of consciousness. And then the state of unconsciousness is a state of critical analysis of the data I have gathered so far in my consciousness. And so what you do when you go to bed or what you do when you go to meditate is like what you do when you go to cinema. If they put on the light in the cinema hall, you'll be so distracted, you'll be watching who is eating popcorn there, who is touching who there. But they put off the light for a purpose so that you can focus on one thing. And then one thing, that screen you focus on, you can think of a million ways a single scene could be played out. That's the same thing that happened to you when you go to bed, when you sleep at night, when you go into meditation. What you do is you switch off the light and you focus on one thing that you took out of your consciousness. You didn't get to the cinema by unconscious state. You went there by yourself, right? And you knew exactly what you're going to watch when you get there. If you didn't know, you know what you're going to watch before you step into the room or you buy the ticket. So while some people think meditation is a ritual for spiritual installation, so that some spiritual God somewhere or one Mami Water Miss Road spirit that is walking around that doesn't have destination will just come and possess them. We say this is why most people are frustrated, because their expectation towards the meditation is wrong. Meditation is unpacking and unveiling what you have acquired so far, the content you have picked from here to there. And it's now left to you to now streamline your mind to one single thing at a time. Meditation is not knowing everything at the same time. You go to a spiritualist and they'll tell you, give me 3 days to pray about it. They didn't go to pray, they went to analyze. And I keep saying that prophecy is intelligence. If you are an intelligent person, you know what's going to happen by what is happening right now. You can readily forecast tomorrow by what is happening today. People like Taisho Larry were talking about what we are facing today as far back as 1968. Because they could think, they could read between the lines. And it's always obvious in life, the event of our life is like a wall, it's like a script written on the wall. So they will always ask you, can't you see the writing on the wall? And you keep thinking, writing on the wall. Where's the writing on the wall? Where's the writing on the wall? Writing on the wall cannot be seen when you are too distracted, listening to hip-hop, listening to jargons, listening to all kind of things. You are here, you are there. And so many young people that on this platform, that platform, there. Can you please just sanitize your head? Be intentional about the content that comes here, so you can unpack it to the fullest detail. So it's not about me taking a step. It's about what happened between the step I took and what will happen if I keep taking that step. At the time I'm doing it, I'm conscious doing it. I didn't have time to think about it. But the time of meditation and unconsciousness is when I begin to now critically analyze what's going on. So you see into the future. You can readily just forecast. You can think straight. Yeah, let me use the word. You can think straight during meditation. So what is happening to you during meditation is not a spiritual installation. It is reconciling with the data and information within you. So you realize that nothing is coming from outer space into your body. Everything you need to live in this planet is gotten from this planet, and it's only remaining for you to notice it very well. That's why silence is golden. And people say silence is the best answer for a fool. Silence is golden and all that. They use it in a very wrong. That state that you are so busy getting distracted, you are living like a fool. You get angry easily, you pick stuff you are not supposed to go, you go into a relationship you are not supposed to go into, you find yourself in places you are not supposed to. While you are conscious, you act like a fool. So many times having acted like a fool, you set back and you begin to, I shouldn't have done that. So they say silence is the best answer for a fool. Both the one who is giving a silence and the one who is a fool is within you. Now we say, give more silence to the foolishness aspect of you. Give more silence to the foolishness inside of you so that your foolish part will not gain more ground. And they say, in silence is your strength. In silence is your strength. So if what you're looking for is one spiritual power to come on you during meditation, now that's not what meditation is meant for. And meditation is a time of reconciliation. And then information you never thought was inside of you will now begin to reveal itself gradually. Sadhguru was saying something that your brain is not the most important part of your body. Every part of your body is the most important part of your body, because it is not only your brain that has cells that have memory. Your finger, your skin, your hair, every part of you has memory. So even while you don't think you are picking up information, you are picking it up. In the moment of meditation, if only you can just keep quiet. Ma be, calm down. You ever notice that most loud people are the most foolish people in the world? They talk out of sense and out of point. So you get to a certain room, you see 10 people there, 9 of them are shouting and crying or shouting and laughing and all that. And one of them is quiet. You need information. Who will you go to? The one that is quiet. Even though you might be foolish, but silence have a way of attracting wisdom to you. Meditation is not a posture stipulated exercise or a pain endurance exercise. A lot of people. People think the more pain I can endure, the more my meditation. Now, who is marking the register of your meditation? Are you getting a reward for meditating? No. So enduring pain while meditating doesn't do you any good. And as a matter of fact, that's part of the distraction we're saying you should avoid. Avoid distraction at every cost. And people think when they do like this, let me show you. You see this man? Okay. The man here on the screen with me, background. When you sit like this, that doesn't mean you are meditating. Now I know there are so many schools of thought that taught you about different angles and different acupoints of your body if they meet together and all of those things and all the things you have been trying this thing. So meditation is not posture stipulated or pain endurance exercise. The numbers or the amount of pain you could amass or you can endure does not determine that you, as a matter of fact, the more pain you can eliminate, the better your meditation. You can sit the way I'm seated and still meditate, which makes you have the ability to meditate anywhere, anyhow, any time of the day. So it doesn't matter if you are standing, if you are bowing down, if you are kneeling down, if you are this and that. So long you are comfortable where you are, the only reason why it is not advisable for you to meditate on the bed is because it is too comfortable for you, you sleep off. But if you know you won't sleep off, why? So what is even meditation? Call your sense to order. That is enough meditation. When you know how to call your sense to order, when you know how to simmer your body, your organs, everything to calm down and say, let's examine this situation for a while. And nothing tells you to close your eyes or open your eyes. The main aim is just avoid distraction. As long as you can avoid distraction, you are good to go. So meditation doesn't have to be something that you used to know, I can endure this pain, I can endure this pain. People think doing yoga and meditating is the same thing. Oh. There's a lot of miseducation out there. And so you begin to say, I'm doing it, it's not yielding anything. When you try too much, you become too conscious of what you're doing, you realize that it becomes a routine and a task. And when it becomes a routine and a task, you can't wait to just avoid it and escape it. So when stipulated any position that eliminate distraction and pain, it's good to go for you to meditate. Good for you to meditate. What else can we say meditation is not? Meditation is not a substitute for prayer. I think there's an error there. Meditation is not a substitute for you for prayer. I think there's a question somewhere there. Because prayer for me is like being high on something. Who are you talking to? If whoever you are talking to is outside yourself, what you mad? You can't see who you are talking to. You are just shouting, Father, do this, Father, do this. Which Father? So when we say you are saying you are talking to your Father, talking to someone is communication, not just blabbing and talking. And so it's a different goal that they are trying to aim at. Those who meditate and those who pray. So those who meditate are simply looking for solution in the light of clarity to whatever boggles their mind, bothers them. With the expectation that they will still be the one to take responsibility for whatever they come up with. So they are doing critical examination, a critical analysis of the situation and say, okay, what went wrong? How else can I get it done? So when they do the error bugging and they trap the error, they go to do something about it. But those who pray begin to say, come and do it for me, come on. Who? So we say meditation is not a substitute for prayer because prayer is not even necessary. Better for you to think about what you did wrong and write it, or how to increase performance on a certain thing, than for you to keep saying, come and help me. And we say that meditation is not time framed or bound. Meditation is not time framed or time bound. Now, you are not competing with anybody. And no one is competing with you. As a matter of fact, if you meditate 5 minutes or 2 minutes, you could get a lot more data or information. You could be more at peace with than someone who is doing 5 hours. Kilo shame. 5 hours on his spot. That's how I'm not religion start. Bragging, I speak in tongue 15 hours a day. I do meditation 10 hours a day. Who are you? Who is who is giving you? What is the reward of meditation? Who is the one giving you reward? Oh, they meditate that alone in Bali. You can meditate behind your steering. You can meditate anywhere. Because the moment you make it become a ritual, you begin to do too much. The distraction and the exercise, your preparation begin to make you, they keep up. You can't keep up. Except meditation is your full-time job in life. You can't keep up. So it is better you train yourself to be able to meditate on the go and maximize time. And whoever told you that meditation must be done in a quiet place lied to you. Because you need to know that this is not who you are. This is not you. Now let's do this example. Someone is worried about something so badly, and the stuff is taking over his head. and is in the marketplace. Do you know it's possible for that person not to hear a single word that is going on around him or a single sound that is going on around him until you tap him and say, stand up. So who are you? If this is who you are, and your ear is what you use in hearing, or your eyes is what you use in seeing, you realize that you will never be able to shut the word out when you are in the world. But that's not who you are. The real you can be engaged inside of you, and this you will be suspended. So also for meditation. You can be in a noisy place and meditate. And it doesn't have to be just to be 5 minutes. You're not doing quiet time. This is not real. You are not doing quiet. This is not daily devotion. This is talking to you. Now, before you can say, okay, I need to create time for me, means that you have been running away from you. If you are with you, it should carry you all along everywhere you go to, and you'll be able to summon you at any point in time and be able to engage you. But look at us today. We are so engaged into others. We are so into others. If I ask you, who are you today? You know who Jesus is. You know who Moses is. You know who Abraham is. You know who Donald Trump is. You know who I am. You don't know who you are. So when I say, who are you? You begin to say, I'm an engineer. Is that what I'm asking you? It's short changing from who you really are. It's short changing from who you really are. And lastly, on what meditation is not. I think I've mentioned this particular point. Meditation is not seclusion or isolation. You might need to seclude yourself or isolate yourself for the purpose of distraction, to have decorum if you need it. But it is not every time you need to meditate that you have a quiet place to meditate. So if you are not used to meditating, some people cannot even, if you go to spend a night in another person's house or in a hotel, they find it so hard to bring their psychology into the space of meditation. They can be so alone and still be distracted. This doesn't look like my bed. The atmosphere doesn't. Every atmosphere is an atmosphere. It is you that turns it to what you want it to be. Are you with me? If you are very certain and very comfortable with your divinity, every atmosphere comes neutral. You turn it to what you want it to be. But because you have been trained, and it's religious people that does this to you. When they brought out the idea of having a prayer room or a war room or a mountain somewhere and the countryside or one camp and all of those things, you feel like if you try to stay by yourself and try to visit your divinity in the city, it's not going to be as effective as going all the way to Lagos Ibadan Express. So what's the use of leaving city, going to camp, and within the time you leave camp and you get to the city, you have cursed people. You have gotten angry, you have fought people. One thing I want you to know is that the universe is not a separate entity from the content of itself. So the planet Earth, the Mars, the Venus, Jupiter, all those things are content of the universe. They make up the universe. And if the universe is what is supplying you data, getting information for you, element of universe is inside the house, your bathroom, your washroom, everywhere. It is divinity. It is the literacy of divinity that makes you feel you need to get to a spot, go to a certain place before So meditation is not seclusion or isolation. And when they were talking about the concept of worship that I mentioned earlier, the concept of worship that I mentioned earlier, where the whole thing was barricaded or messed up was when they misconceived what was already in existence in Africa here, thinking that our way of documentation by representing our words with nature is paganism. Is paganism. I wish I can digress a little, and I will. I'm trying to get something for it. Because when we were here trying to document things so that our generations unborn will be able to learn from them and be able to adapt, know how they come into being and who they are. And so it can enhance their exercise of meditation. These folks came and they blackmailed us emotionally. This is Exodus chapter 20. We will talk about verse 1 to 5 today. I've written extensively about it. The Europeans, when they came and they started their politics, they knew how much we are close to the nature and how aware we are about the beast of the field, the plants in the jungle, the air, the water, and all of those things. Because when they were writing back then in Kemet, they were using this element of creature as a mode of expression. So the language they speak then is called Netar, which means nature. It's only normal that you speak the language of nature by using nature to symbolize what you do. So your ancestors were not worshiping idols. And I say this to correct the current folks who practice traditional religion today. And I know a lot of people out there in Europe and all that are craving so badly to get back to that primitive state of having something to bow down to. Your forefathers were not bowing down. They were communicating. Remember, I told you that their view or concept of worship was not, oh, I come to bow to you today. Oh, the remnant of their corruption is what we practice as traditional religion today in Africa. And most of it, the most chunk of it came as a source, as a way of rebelling. And you go to Kemet, Egypt, anywhere, you realize that these people kept carving on the wall. They carve on the wall. They write their stuff on stones. They carve on the wall and all that. And so when they need an information, just like you go to dictionary or you go to Google or you go to Wikipedia, encyclopedia, they run to the wall. That's where the phrase of writing on the wall came in. They run to the wall to look at, okay, we see an owl, a charcoal, and all of those things. Okay, this is what we are going to make together. Okay, this is what this means. You see a dog, you think they are trying to worship dog or serpent. No, they are talking about wisdom. They are talking about holiness. You see elephant, they talk about space and memory. You see tiger or lion, they talk about strength, endurance, pride. And they carve it so bogusly on the wall, it's so vivid. So you think that's idolatry. Sometimes they use the tree to retain messages by carving the messages on the tree. So you see them before the tree, before the wall and all that, reminiscing, talking, trying to think. They are reading. That's their book. That is their library. And so when the Oyibo people wanted to disconnect you from the nature's language and the basis of your meditative characteristics, this is what they brought to you. They brought this part of the Bible called Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 to 21. You might not have seen it before, but I'll read it to you now. He said, and God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Now, whenever you see Egypt, as from today, replace it with Kemet. And whenever you say Kemet, don't think about it as Eastern Africa. Think about it as the land of black people. So if we are going to reread this now, we say, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of the black people, out of the house of bondage. They call your own land, Africa here, the land of the house of bondage. But do you know that their Messiah, called Jesus, needed to go to this land of bondage when his supposed life was in bondage, was in jeopardy? Do you know that the very first spiritual or whatever political leader they have called Moses, or let's say Moses, that's for the sake of this teaching, had to be brought out of this Egypt? Now, there are white people in Egypt till today who are digging the ground for ancient civilization with billions of dollars in grant and funding. What are they looking for in the house of bondage? Now, this is what they do. Verse 3 says, you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in water, that is water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third generation for those who hate me. Now here you begin to wonder, what causes hatred? You see, all of these idols, they say do not bow down to. Why? First, you must know that your ancestors were not bowing down to these things. If you are so eager to bow down to something, then it will approve their claim that you are primitive. It has never crossed the mind of your ancestor that they will carve a tree and bow to the tree. They are too wise for that. What they do is to retain information for you, using the tree, using the walls, using the mold of clays to pass information across to you. But this is the blackmail you got here. They say you must not carve. And because they say you must not carve, the artistic skill that Africans own was discouraged. That craftsmanship in Africa was discouraged. And the connection between you and those who existed before you was also disconnected. It was severe. Why? Because folks before you thought, when I try to retain information on wall and all that, or try to go back to the world to get information, or decode all these things, it is idolatry. Now, where are those idols today? All of those things that they say don't go, is in their museums. So you took something out of our land, you say our land is the land of bondage, but you took it and took it to your own house. You make money from it in exhibition and all of those things. But how did your forefathers, in connection to what we are talking about, how did your ancestors come about those carving and all that, if they were not meditative? If they are not thinking ahead? If they are always distracted, just like you are today? If all they use their life for is go naked and begin to do absurdity of orgasm, orgy, and all of those things. If the only thing they were thinking about is how to defraud people, the information that became so much of a threat to the white folks, for them to even pass it into their law and use their God to threaten you and even say, Tobashe, if you do it, your generations unborn will suffer for it. So your ancestors had to stop. So up until today, there is no single painter or a carver in Palestine. Demoralization of mental capacity. What I'm saying is, out of meditation, you get information. And out of information, you work against deformation, either of now or of tomorrow. So it was because your ancestors were people who took meditation so keenly that they are able to say, okay, we can represent flight with birds. We can represent basket with plenty. We can represent strength with animals. They were thinking, they were great thinker, critical analyst. Okay, how do we tell our generations unborn that we existed and they can do it this way? They began to carve. But the white man knows that when you know all these things, you suddenly just get your scent back. And when you begin to go back to the same carved graven image they say you should not go to, those writing on the wall, you'll find your road. My name is Greatman Ayilara. I do hope I have done justice to today's topic. What meditation is not. I said a bit and I leave it to you. Now consider in your moment of quietness. Let the quietness you have within you overrule the act of foolishness that is also part of your making. Instead of being foolish, why don't you have strength? Be strong using the power of meditation. And stop clinging on people. Stop thinking without this person I can't live. Stop jumping from one place to the other. Spend time with yourself. Reconcile